Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to Mediterranean Basin Mental Map number 2. Okay, so this is creating the second map, probably the more important of the two in terms of answering or mastering our objective for the day, which explain the impact of physical geographic features in the Mediterranean Basin. How did things like mountains and bodies of water impact the people that made the most powerful civilizations on Earth? How did the geography do that? Let's look at our mental map again. I know it looks kind of weird. You ever get lost, look for your Italian boot. First thing you need to do, write down in small letters the 4 different peninsulas that you need to know. At any point, pause the video. If you get lost, just pause and listen again. Okay? Iberian, which has the country of Spain. Italian has the country of Italy today. The Balkan Peninsula has the country of Greece. And the Anatolian has the country of Turkey today. Let's add in a couple things. First thing I need you to add, we're going to add in a little box here, because that's where the city-states of Greece, or the city-states of Athens and Sparta were located. We're going to add in an island down here that we did last time, and you can write small. This is Crete, the island of Crete. Make sure you add in your little Aegean islands here. You have a lot more room than I do. I'm just trying to make it I'm doing smaller ones because I have less. I want to make it nice and big for you. Okay. What I'd also like you to do is to label your legend. Compass rose, north, south, east, west. We're going to add in a couple of new things here. Whenever I'm looking to label a civilization, making sure I'm spelling this right for the camera, I'm going to make a little house here. A little house. It looks like a house with some stairs, and that's my civilization. Looks like a pantheon, I guess. So that's our civilization. Anytime you see me do a little boat, okay, like this, there's my little boat, and there's my little guy. He says hi. He's a sailor, or she's a sailor. Anytime you see that, that means it is sea trade. There's a lot of sea trade going on. So think about or talk about with your group, why would these particular areas be very good at sea trade? On that note, let's add in some things that you need to do. All here, all in the Balkan Peninsula, are the Dinaric Alps and huge mountain ranges. Make sure you add those in. Don't make it so jumbled that you can't read it like mine. But again, how did the geography, the physical geography, impact the region? How did they create city-states that way? Okay, let's add in our required information. Okay, the first thing I'd like you to do is to go down to the southwest corner, and we're going to add in our first civilization. We're going to do it right here. Okay, and this is Mesopotamia. Keep going that way, you're going to get to Mesopotamia. Okay? They traded with the people we're going to learn about here, believe it or not. Okay, let's go down to the south. We have another corner. See if you can guess which one, or another civilization. This is the civilization of Egypt. Okay? They also traded with the folks up here. How did they do it? Well, hopefully you figured it out by now. And they did it by the sea, or using sea trade. Okay, so let's move forward here. We labeled Mesopotamia, we labeled Egypt, we did the specific legend, the key. Okay, the next thing we're going to label are some civilizations by Crete. Okay, and we're going to do a little symbol here to symbolize that. Okay, and the first one we're going to label is Minoan, M-I-N-O-A-N, and we're going to put in parentheses This happened around 3000 BCE, okay? So about 5,000 years ago, okay? The Minoans were really good sailors, excellent sailors. They conquered smaller groups in Greece up here. These settlements eventually grew into a new and powerful civilization called the Mycenaean or the Mycenaean civilizations. Okay, they ended eventually because of natural disasters and being taken over by the Mycenaeans. So let's put a line through that to show that they kind of faded out. And we're going to go back to red here, and we're going to write Mycenaean. And we're going to put 2000 BCE. About 1,000 years later, they became pretty powerful. Also, very good sailors, very good at what they do. Okay, then a whole bunch of bad things started happening in this area. Put a line through that. There's something that happened that it's called the Dark Ages. Not the Dark Ages you'll learn about in 7th grade. It was an earlier set of Dark Ages, and that was at about 1000 BCE. They call it the Dark Ages because there wasn't a lot written about this time period. There wasn't much going on. They didn't shut out the lights. They didn't have any lights. But because of wars and natural disasters, there's not much written about this period of time, and so that's what they call it, the Dark Ages. Okay? All right, let's move up north, and we're going to put a few dots. You're going to find out the exact locations of these later, but right now, for our mental map, I want you to write down a few important ones. Athens, Corinth, and Sparta. And these are 3 city-states that you're going to become more familiar with in the coming days and weeks. Okay? These city-states, although they were small, they were very independent, and the mountainous geography isolated them from one another. The mountains that we just talked about up here, it isolated them. Athens was, even though it was very close to Corinth and Sparta relatively, it was really hard to travel in between, really hard to get from place to place. And they developed very, very differently from one another in ways that you will find out very, very soon. People were very loyal to their city-states. You were not a citizen of Greece or aggression. Grecian? Greekan? I don't know. You were a citizen of Athens. You were a citizen of Sparta. You were a Spartan. You were a Corinthian. And let's, on that note, these folks, think about how the impact of the mountains, what it did to them, because we're going to put in a little boat here, because that indicates a lot of sea trade for this particular area. Okay? So, again, before you leave here, you should talk with your group. How did the geography of the Mediterranean basin influence the settlement of humans in Greece? How did the geography force them to develop differently from one another? I hope you enjoyed your time with me, and have a wonderful afternoon.